Hello everybody, it is Jack the Music Lover here, and today the album review will be Bombay Bicycle Club, My Big Day. So I remember them saying at the concert that with this album they just made the album they wanted to, and you would think they would end up creating their best work. And I give the album an 8 out of 10. I do think it's a pretty good album. It's mostly what I've been listening to the past couple of weeks, but when you give every other album a 9 or a 12 out of 10, it feels so disheartening to say, but yeah, it's not their worst album yet, but it's their, just by default, it's my least favourite they've done. All the elements they usually have in that album that copies through, they have. The first song, it is very similar to every single first song they've done, but it's not as wispy as How Can You Swallow So Much Sleep, or as instrumental and layered as Overdone, or like domineering as Get Up. It perfectly fits the formula of the songs they start their album with, but it's just a bit lackluster. I feel like it just goes on a bit too long, and then it gets really depressing with the next song. I Want to Be Your Only Pet. This is another thing about this album. It's very all the other albums-esque, and this song is very I Had the Blues-esque. But I feel like with every song on that album, by the end, even if there's really few lyrics, you feel like there's some sort of resolution, and that they found some positivity within whatever was troubling them that the song is based on. And you don't feel that with I Want to Be Your Only Pet. It's just too melancholy. And then Sleepless, it's more like the newer stuff, Everything Else Has Gone Wrong. I do think it's a really nice, sweet song. I didn't know who the feature was. I actually only recognised 2 of the names of all the, I think, 5 or 6 features they had on this, because, everyone knows Shaka. As for the song, I do enjoy that song. But again, it coasts along, but there's no real crescendo, like there is with the next song, My Big Day. When I first heard that, it had to grow on me. It took for me to listen to the whole album when it came out and listen over it again, to realise it actually properly does build up the further you go into it, and it has a lot more layers. However, the whole meaning about it, about wanting to do fuck all on your birthday, I so don't resonate with, because I do not like days where you do nothing. I always like to do something, even in the evenings. Like when I still had my old job in London, I would be busy every evening because I don't want to sit at home all evening. Sometimes I would, sometimes I was just too tired, but the whole idea of just spending your whole day sat in the garden smoking weed is not me. Still, it made a damn good song, and it also shows songs do grow on you. Before this album, I instantly liked almost every song from theirs I heard. Of course, there's a few of their songs not on this album that I don't like. Good Day, that song is so miserable, but it just shows that songs can grow on you as well. But one song that was, I feel like, the most like them, how I've always known them, is the next one. It's my favourite on the album, Turn the World On. I love that song so much. I'll say it is also quite like some of the songs on Everything Else Has Gone Wrong. It's a delightful song. It's so happy and upbeat, and I know it's a bit like Sleepless in that it doesn't have a crescendo, but it's already happy to begin with, so I don't really feel like it needs one. It doesn't need to come to that sense of resolution. And Jack Stedman said at the concert, it's about his 2-year-old son and how much optimism he has for him. And I think it's fantastic to see a song about family, about optimism for creating life in a new generation and having a son and making a family. So in the second half, it's the section of features. Every song but one has a feature. One of them is with a member of Blur. That's the song Heaven. I feel like I would say that is the most sort of wispy one, like the stereotypical indie song. And it's also one of my favourites on the album. The section with Damien Albarn, it only really, in my opinion, half fits into the rest of the song. It doesn't dampen the song at all. It is a very well constructed song in my opinion, very lovely to listen to whilst walking along. But then the one before that, Meditate, so like maybe is a little bit like I Had the Blues, but it's so urgent. It feels weird that Bombay Bicycle Club made a song like that. It's so different to them. The girl who features on it, Nilüfer Yanya, I've not listened. I didn't even know who she was, and I've not listened to any of her stuff. But I imagine it's far more based on her than them, and they just sort of wanted to experiment. And even said his album wasn't about experimenting, but this seems like probably one of their most experimental songs yet. And the one after it, it's like rural television will, very in the vein of The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. It sounds something like that. And it has that vibe to it as well. It's like the whole attitude of the aliens are coming translated into dubstep. It's so out of nature for them. I definitely think it was a worthwhile addition to the album. But it was just weird. Even more unexpected was this collab with Shaka Khan. I remember when I saw it, I was just like, Is this some just ironically named indie band? No, it was actually with Shaka Khan. And she makes a statement on her section. I remember I was listening to the song and I hadn't heard her vocals on it at all. And I was in the second chorus and I was like, she's just going to be on the bridge, just taking over the whole song, maybe even album when it comes out. Yeah, that's what happened. And just like the second chorus ends and then she just bellows in. Just like, yes bitch, I'm here. I think it's the most perfect collab of all of them. She fits the song perfectly, even though it's such a 180. And then we come on to the last collab song, Diving, which they'd already released and I mentioned in my Ramsgate review. Again, it's one of my favourite songs. I loved it way more than My Big Day at the time. The undulations of My Big Day hadn't really registered in my brain. I wasn't realising how good of a song it was at the time, but this one I instantly loved. And Holly Humberson's vocals again match with it perfectly because she's a lot softer than Shaka Khan. It works perfectly that she is throughout the song. It works that she sings throughout the song as opposed to Shaka just having her little diva corner. But again, very simple, very them. I like it. Now for the last song. I bet this is the part where the album order was a bit wrong. I don't think you could really find a perfect order for this album because it's so varied, but I think they should have either have Headwind as the last song or second to last, but having Onward as the last song does fit. It's so similar to I Had the Blues. It feels like they were trying too hard to recreate that. And I get the nostalgia, I love nostalgia. It just felt like it was trying too hard, especially the end bit of Onward. It's so brilliant, but it felt forced. It felt like you're trying to recreate your first album. That is one of your best albums, but that ship has sailed. And it just, I don't know, it made it feel worse. Why'd you do this? It would have been a really good song. It just felt like there was too many heart-shaped glasses. Overall, Bombay Bicycle Club, you are still my favourite band. I just don't think it was your best work. I still think it's a really good album. I still give it 8 out of 10. Whether it's just something you had to get out of your system and just like really make your own album, be experimental in ways that none of us were expecting, or at least me, it's still a great album. Anyway, My Big Day, 8 out of 10.